Live! Whoa, we are live. The transfer window slammed shut. Blackburn Rovers haven't really been busy, but the breaking news is, of course, no more Big Val. That's, of course, the transfer deadline day. Kind of got washed away with ourselves today with the news that Valérien Ismaël is no longer the Blackburn Rovers manager. We're going to talk about that. We are live. Get your comments in. Your opinion matters, of course, and we'll get to all of your opinions in a little bit. There is a poll out, a little thing there, QR code, also a link there. Go there, put your, you can pick who are out of the top 4 candidates right now. Put your vote in there. There's also the possibility of sticking your own name, not your own name, but your own suggestion in as to who should be Blackburn Rovers manager in there. So get in there, do that, and we'll have a look at it in a little bit. But yes, again, subscribe if you're new. We are back. I've been away for a while, a lot of ups and downs, lots of drama at home. But who was here first? It was, of course, the lovely Denver. You're here and you're busy. I know you're busy, but I appreciate you giving up a bit of your time. First and foremost, your take on the news of course, Big Val, no longer with us. I dropped you earlier with my opinion. But what's your opinion?
It's an interesting one. It is definitely one of those where it was inevitable. It was coming with the results and everything coming, but it is a bit of a weird one in the sense that it wasn't bad. Wasn't bad football in that sense, you know, but the results and where we are in the league speaks volumes. Yes, we were buried with injuries throughout this period as well, but I think we're looking not to chance it and pull that. We don't want to get into a really bad position in a few weeks' time, and we're still in a relegation battle. So this is it. They've taken the plug, they pulled the plug, they've taken the gamble, and let's see if it was the right decision. We'll find out at the end of the season. But yeah, it's looking like we need to change it up again. But I remember saying at the beginning of the season, I was like, last time we went for this kind of style of an approach to a season was under JDT, and look how that ended. We nearly went down. It was Leicester last of the season. So yeah, look. Upset for the guy because what I think he was trying to do on the pitch was the right thing, but we looked so toothless moving forward, and that final third we were really dying. We just couldn't score for the life of us. So see what a fresh set of ideas can do. If it will be a good thing or bad thing, we just got to wait and see. But yeah, I think it was an interesting one. I was shocked when I saw it. Of course, it was in the chat when I'd seen the thing, and I'm going, what? And looking everywhere trying to find if this information was true or not, and it was. But yeah. Of course, a bit like with all the other turmoil around the club at the minute, intrigued, and hopefully it will be a good move, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that is, of course, for me, I was always a big advocate of Big Val, and it is quite sad to see it pan out this way. But results don't lie, and we are well and truly in the shit in the regards to relegation matters. John T, of course, what's your take on the news? Of course, I think you were similar to me. You were giving Big Val some time. I think you weren't really on the case to get rid of him, but now the dust maybe is settled. Is it the right move?
Only time will tell, Dirk. Only time will tell. I don't know. I'm a little bit gutted for the guy. I feel a bit schizophrenic with Big Val. He, the performances on most of the occasions have been there, but the results haven't. And I, 35, 6, 7, 8 years of watching Blackburn Rovers, I can't remember being so Denver, sat on the fence, about a manager. To be fair, normally you get really good, inklings that it's time for him to go. He's lost a dressing room and stuff like that. But no, I didn't really have any inklings. Obviously, the club isn't in the greatest of places at this moment in time, as everybody knows. But I thought we might have hung on to him. I think tomorrow would have been a real pivotal game for him. If we'd lost tomorrow, then I would have been more edging to, you know what I mean? You can't have this kind of so many results and not do something about it. But I do genuinely feel a little bit disappointed for the guy. He's had a lot of injuries. A load of people will shoot me down in the comments. Every club has that and all that good stuff. But he's genuinely had some serious injuries to contend with, constant change in the team. But then also on the flip side of that, there's been some formation which has just remained the same. It's been, questionable. I know people say it's a 3-5-2 formation, but is it? For me, it's been more of a 5-5-3-2 formation. We've been exposed. We've been playing two defensive midfielders far too much, even at home against some of the teams where we didn't need to do that. A real schizophrenic sort of vibe about me. I can't quite work out. I wanted the guy to do well. Like you say, I was an advocate of him, like yourself was, Dirk. I could see what he was trying to do. He did the high press. With the high press, you've also, you're sort of exploit a little bit of yourselves as well. You're sort of always vulnerable, I guess, to some fast counter-attacking football. But equally, we run out of ideas when we got into the final third. And you know what? Really weirdly, there's part of me that's jealous. And I'm jealous that somebody can just walk away from the club, because I think it's probably fair to say for every Rovers fan and such a split divide of Rovers fans that I've ever seen in my lifetime, that you can just walk away from a football club and not have anything more to do with it. There's been a time this season especially where I would have loved to have done that. There's not many times, maybe under JDT, where I just have no desire to go down to Ewood Park, no zest to get up and go and support the lads. Don't get me wrong, I've dragged my sorry arse to all the home games, bar one, and a lot of the away games. But it's been a really, really challenging time. There's a change of guard now. Damien Johnson will be in charge of the Sheffield Wednesday game. I hope that works out for him. I mean, it's going to be horrendous if we lose tomorrow night against Sheffield Wednesday. We need to win tomorrow, and we need to do something. At least get a draw at Norwich on Saturday as well. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a free hit for Damien. Well, I say a free hit. I think tomorrow's a must
Dirk,
win.
You're not there, so
I'm here.
You're back. No, you're back. No, you're back. You're back. I was going to take over as the anchorman. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I think it's a free hit for Damien Johnson tomorrow. I think he's got nothing to lose, honestly, but we realistically need to win that game to get a little bit of momentum back in for the weekend. But however, of course, there's always two sides to every coin, and here is Jacob with maybe a different point of view, and maybe have you got a champagne glass out there? I don't know. Let me know.
Not yet, Dirk. I'm saving that for when these owners eventually suck up their pride and leave. But yeah, I mean, like you said, two sides to every story, or kind of three, I suppose, when you've got Denver sitting on the fence as always. But yeah, I mean, I would say relieved that he's gone, but I put a tweet out earlier today. It's all smoke and mirrors, this. The board covering their arse after it's been a pretty lackluster transfer window, in my opinion. Obviously, off the back of what's been so far diabolical season, to move Val on and appease fans who've obviously, voted with their feet against Watford. Only half the attendance we usually get. Usually get about 12, 13,000, and there were 6.5 on against Watford. Just the easy thing to do. In terms of Val himself, it's not really worked since day one, has it? I mean, was it 6 losses in a row? And then, yes, we finished the season strong, but he came into a side that was well and truly in the playoffs. And, I think most people at that point would have thought it'd be harder for us to drop out than not make it. And, yeah, in typical Rovers fashion, obviously, we dropped out again at the 11th hour. And then this season, someone put a tweet out earlier, how would you rate his time? And I've given him a 1 out of 10 for his time. I mean, 41 games, 43 if you're including cup games, and only 11 wins in that time. It's a worse record than Coyle, Steve Keane. It's just inexcusable. And I'll give him the singular point because his squad's been absolutely decimated this summer. Travis, Hyam, Britton, the list goes on. But he doesn't help himself, and I suppose he has to. He has to stick by the squad that he's got. But, he was on record saying, this squad's stronger than it was last season. Utter bollocks, and we know it's utter bollocks. This squad has had the spine ripped out of it, and it shows. We've got a bunch of kids out there, some of which have obviously a lot of which have not played this at this level of football, and it showed this season, unfortunately. I'm at the fans forum on the 9th again. Surprisingly, I've not been banned and they're letting me back. But yeah, I'm going to be making it clear that if we haven't got a new manager by that point, I think we need to get back to basics. Fuck this project shit. The best football we've played in recent times was under John Eustace, which was simple, direct football, grinding out draws, grinding out wins away at Leeds and Leicester, and just be a sum of our parts. I've said that numerous times on this podcast. Under John Dahl, we were trying to play champagne football. We don't have the money for it. Under Val, we've got this bullshit project that is blown up in our faces again. We just need to basically just be a Route 1 football club. And I know that's not fashionable, and I know that's not what people like, but Eustace had us in a really good spot. And I know obviously it didn't end well with him. But God, I'd rather be back there right now than where we are, because unfortunately I do think we're down and out unless someone comes in and picks these lads up by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, well, that's a great segue, really. I bring them all in on here on this one. Of course, so it is Big Val no more. Of course, I was a big fan back in the early days, but it just never really worked out for him. But the early days, of course, every day or every hour things move, the pendulum moves. But we do have some early candidates for the replacement. And I'd like to run through your opinions on each and every one of these. So we'll start with Denver. Of course, sorry to distract you over there. I'm watching you. So these are I've got 3 names here, one for each of you. And then, of course, I'll showcase you the current situation in the odds, the bookmakers' odds for you. But, of course, first and foremost, again, the names here were linked. Actually, were linked over the weekend that I didn't read too much into. I thought it was all bullshit myself. I thought, oh, no, Val's not getting sacked because I don't think Venky's do sack anybody. But anyway, first name out of the block is an old face. Tony Mowbray. Now, since I've conjured this graphic together, some journalists have already kind of put water on these flames for Tony Mowbray, but currently he still is up there in the top 2 or 3 names in the bookmakers' odds to come back to Ewood Park. Is this the right call, Denver?
I think it's always dangerous when a manager comes back, doesn't it, to a club. Sometimes it can work. Look at David Moyes currently at Everton. You know, it was really what they needed, but there was a bit of a gap, of course, when he left in 2013 to coming back in 2025. So what? 12 years, where Mowbray's relatively recent history, 2022. So yeah, and then look how it went at West Brom. So I don't know if he'd immediately want to jump into a similar scenario, especially with West Brom where they are currently as well. But yeah, you know, it's a safe pair of hands. Is it the same project that when he left? I would say so, but you saw how frustrated he was towards the end. I don't know. You know, we'd let the talks of Sam Allardyce as well. Oh, people would have Sam Allardyce back, but why would he come back to a position that we're in now currently? I can't see it. But then on the other foot,
disappointment as well, Denver.
Was that
sorry to cut you off. I'm just going to say disappointment as well. The fact that, you know, he'd given 5 years or whatever it was, and they didn't even have the decency to tell him they weren't going to renew his contract.
Yeah, so it's just, you know, it's just kind of how the club's been run for the past God knows how long, and then other managers that I'm sure are going to be coming up on this timeline very shortly. I'm not going to say names or anything, but even them, they look unlikely because of the position that we're in and wages wise and stuff like that, and what we're going to be asking for. So it is going to be. That was always the predicament when we're letting Ismaël go. Like, who are we going to get in? Remember the names that were coming up before? Nothing was seemed too exciting, and you know. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Tony Mowbray, there's always that risk. You don't want to tarnish what he'd done previously by bringing him back, but it's a somewhat safe pair of hands if we were going to do so, but yeah, you just never know.
Hang on a minute, just typing something here for the folks here. So there is a link here in the chat. It's also on the graphic QR code. Get your votes in. I've got these guys' names, not these guys, but these names of potential managers out there. Get your votes in to see who you think. And it's also the ability to put in your own name, but Jonty, you get a familiar name to the EFL and a familiar name to world football, and that is Slaven Bilic. Was also a name that has been linked with Rovers early in this, and again, more water has been put on these flames to kind of to remove him from the conversation. But again, as of right now, he's still up in the top 2 or 3 names of the bookies. Would you like to see him at the helm? Another foreigner?
Who knows? It's you know, I've said this for a long time now. You've got to be careful what you wish for. Sometimes, you know, Ismaël, you know, will divide a lot of people on here. You know, Jacob mentioned about Eustace, but we're talking about the same Eustace that lost us. Did he have 1 win in 11 games just before he went off to Derby? So, you know, he was sounding like a broken record, wasn't he? And yet, you know, apparently he was the best manager we've had for a long time, sort of thing. I'm not quite subscribing to that. Yes, he was direct. Yes, we had some good times under him, but you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not for 1 minute putting him in the same arena as Ismaël, but you know, I don't know. I think we're always going to be fishing in a completely different pond than what we've had recently. But on to your man. Yeah, he did all right with West Ham, didn't he? He's been to West Brom, I think, as well. Didn't have a great time there. Watford as well, more recently. I wouldn't mind him. I would. Yeah, I'd probably welcome him, to be fair. But I don't know. They're coming to a broken club. That's the harsh reality of it. So, and you know, we've inherited this first team coach and not manager sort of title as well. So is that something to be wary of? You know, in other words, basically, you know your place. You're not going to get all the decisions. The signings are going to be put in front of your nose, as opposed to you having a big influence on that. So, you know, it's all this modern day football, isn't it? So, I don't know. It's a harsh reality. It's like almost signing somebody from a different club as a footballer, and you know, you don't know which way it's going to work out, sort of thing. They could be firing on all cylinders, but you know, it might be the perfect match for Blackburn Rovers. We need somebody quite strong, quite open, quite mouthy. But you know, whether it's Bilic, I'm not quite sure, to be fair.
Yeah, again, I'm not too. I don't know. I'm not. When you look at some of the names that I'll show you in a minute I don't know. It doesn't really burst me with confidence. Jacob, actually speaking to what you just said about more Route 1 or more direct sort of football, this guy who is next on my list here could actually fit the bill. And he's available for free, but he might not be everyone's cup of tea. And he is Gary Rowett, formerly of Oxford. Of course, he was fired earlier today, but he did have, in his previous campaigns, I think he was under Birmingham. He's actually been around a lot of the sort of championship. He's got the championship experience, and he did have a new manager sort of bounce with Oxford in his early instance. So he's out there. He's available. Does that get your juices going?
Not really. It'd be a fairly kind of bland option to me. I could definitely see it happening, but it wouldn't fill me with confidence. But at the same time, it wouldn't worry me either, I guess. Like you said, he is very much well seasoned at this level. But yeah, he's very hit and miss when he did all right at Millwall, if I remember right, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And then didn't he go back and have a second stint and it didn't go too well, I think. So I'm not too sure on him. I mean, someone's mentioned Steven Gerrard in the chat. That'd certainly be an interesting one. But, look at what's happened with Frank Lampard. He's completely turned his managerial career around going to Coventry. And they were in a pretty dire place when he took over. But the difference between us and a Coventry is they're clearly a project that want to go somewhere, and we're the exact opposite. So unfortunately, I just don't think we'd meet Steven Gerrard's ambitions, and that's half the problem. And that's why Eustace left in the end. They wouldn't back him in the January window, and I think him and the players kind of down tools as a result. So. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Tony Mowbray to come in till the end of the season and hopefully rescue us this time. A Bilic would be interesting. Obviously, he did really well at West Ham, but that's going back a decade ago. And as been mentioned, he's not really done well at Watford. But who does well at Watford? That was when he got fired. That was a merry-go-round at the time of managers, and West Brom. So. Yeah, not the greatest options to be honest, Dirk.
Indeed.
Jacob, what's your thoughts on Mowbray returning?
I'd be for it. I think. I think it'd bring a feel-good factor around the club, which we do kind of desperately need right now. Obviously, people do look back on Mowbray's time with rose-tinted glasses. I do, even though I was fully ready for him to leave at the end of his contract when he did, because there were season after season after season where obviously we had that January slump and we'd be in and around the playoffs and then we'd fall off every season. I was ready for him to move on, but if he can come in and, do what he did last time, but he's got a bit more time this time, I think that's the real difference, because I can't remember when he came in. But
it was February. Yeah, it was February he came in and we went down. But what I liked about Mowbray is he kept everybody together. He basically said, you're the dickheads that got us relegated. You're the dickheads that are going to get us out of League One, basically. And I like that.
Yeah.
And he did. He did that sort of thing. And, there was progress under Mowbray for sure as a club.
My only worry is that team was full of characters, obviously we've heard the stories on podcasts of the players since about Coyle with, messing around in the training, and they laugh about it and they said, but it's not funny really, like there was no tactics. It was just Coyle going Coyle and hitting volleys and shit like that. And he had a massive fridge of Iron Brew and all this crap. And, just an absolute clown show apparently. And, that those players were too good for League One, and it were full of characters, and like you're saying, players who thought this is a great club, where this club does not deserve to be in League One. We were poor last season. We need to get this club back up. This group of players, it's the exact opposite in my opinion. No characters, not good enough. I just hope we really do need a proper man manager, and like I said, I think we just need to get back to the basics.
I don't know if it's as dire as that though, Jake. I think again, like after watching how many of the games, it's been what I think we've been like we have controlled games. We just can't put the ball in the back of the net for the life of us. So
It's the most important thing, though.
Exactly, but I think tactically that's where we were inept. But everything else, regard that. I remember that season, and again, like you said, tactically, we had no idea what we were doing. It was literally a bunch of individuals. Marvin Enders going up and doing a bit of magic every now and then, if it worked. Other than that, we had nothing going for us. Yes, we might have had good characters, and when they were being coached, and we looked half decent side while we had a chance. But I don't think that's the issue with this crop of. Like, I think we've got players who can definitely play. We've just been unlucky with the amount of injuries, and I just think it's a really poor decision making when in the final third, certain runs not being made and certain passes. Just that bit of coaching at the top of the pitch is just. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's a bit of a mystery to me. Maybe people were saying it's Andre Johnson not being involved, but like we can see that I think that has he had any really clear-cut chances? I think we've been lucky with some of the chances that we've got, and we've still missed them. So I think that's the issue there more so. And again, on the Mowbray situation, is if he does come back and it goes horribly wrong, like West Brom where he's gone back and it's just not worked, and then it sours that relationship. I don't know if it'd be worth him to do that as well.
No, I don't. I don't think it's worth the gamble. I think we need some fresh impetus. Maybe we just need a manager with a very, very large bonus till the end of the season to keep us up. And if Leicester get the points deducted, it's just made the job a lot easier as well. Whether that happens, whether it doesn't, I don't know. But you just putting a manager in for the next 3 years worries me a little bit. Just pay somebody a very, very decent wage just to keep us up, and then we'll reconvene in the summer and see what happens. On a brighter note, boys, Sunderland 2, Burnley 0, half time. So yeah, I mean, I'd take Scott Parker. He knows a thing or two about the Championship. So when he gets potted.
Meanwhile, on a negative note, Sammy Smodic to Derby.
No.
Is it confirmed?
It looks like it's happening. Joining old buddy.
Yeah. Where's Eustace in the table with Derby again?
Playoffs right now. Anyway, I just want to before I go.
It's all together, and it's all every team that we play is a really tough guy, and it's but we're together.
Where's he from? Is he from Jamaica?
Yeah.
Anyway, before I show you the odds of the thing, a couple of guys in the chat. Let's go through some of their comments.
Haven's here.
Haben is here. We got Collier here. Damien Duff. That's what his shout out there.
He's done well in Ireland apparently in the Europa League, is it?
Say again.
Was he in the Europa League with whoever they were?
For Shelbourne, he did well. I think he won the league and the cup out there. He's been out of work for a little bit. What about Big Sam? Anyone up for a reunion with Sam Allardyce? He's 71 years of age right
How
now.
long has he been out of it now? What was his last job? Was it Sunderland? No, Leeds, wasn't it? It was Leeds' last
I have
job.
no idea.
Yeah,
Leeds,
I think it were. They give him a ridiculous contract for 10 games or something.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just somebody to keep us up, and then we'll reconvene or consolidate in the summer.
Would you take a Gary Rowett, Johnsy?
I would take a Gary Rowett.
Yeah, till the end of the season, yes. Yeah, probably, yeah. But I mean, Damien Johnson, I think, let's see how he does against Sheffield Wednesday. Maybe give him 2 games. If you can get 4 or 6 points out of Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday, serious contender. I think Norwich up until Middlesbrough away were absolutely firing on all cylinders. But I think with Damien Johnson, there is a manager there. Whether it's going to be at Rovers or not, I don't know. It's massive association. I remember he used to play. I used to watch him play, sort of thing. It was never again the greatest of players, but was outshadowed by your other players, people like Damien Duff as well. So, but they say, the greatest players don't always make the best managers. And I think that's across every industry, isn't it? Just because you're a bit of a star man and on the shop floor, as it were, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can motivate and organise and galvanise, other people. Sometimes it's like the average players. And Damien Johnson, he had a few good seasons, few good games on and off, but Yeah, I think he could make a manager. I really do. I really do.
Get David Law back.
Steady on.
Well, someone dropped a comment over on Twitch. I know this is not for everyone's cup of tea, and it doesn't get everyone's juices going. But Carl Robinson is doing a fantastic job at Salford. He had Rovers links earlier in his coaching career. He did okay at Oxford and MK Dons. He's a well-experienced EFL manager. Bit of a gamble at League Two, but they are flying. But that is a name that is currently not on the bookies list, and we're going to showcase you those now if I can get over there. These are the current odds for if I've got the stupid graphic up there. Slaven Bilic is at the top there, 3-1. Damien Duff 6-1. Mowbray's also at 6. David Wagner, former Norwich man there, he's at 10-1. Gary Rowett 12-1. David Lowe is in the mix of their 14-1. Williams still, I don't think that'll happen. John Dahl's back. Who put money on him? David Chalmers, Stockport. Lee Carsley out of work, I think. I don't think he's working right now. Russell Martin, again, another one. Not for everyone's cup of tea. Anyone, Denver, any of those names jump out at you that you would love to have back at the helm?
Back at the helm? I mean, Slaven Bilic, but I think that would be the unrealistic one, really. You look at everyone else. Russell Martin is just a big no-no for me, just a big no-no. He fits the bill of what the club are trying to do. If you look at our league position, I think that's how it will end up. So I just don't think Russell Martin is definitely the man at all. See, I'm not always on the fence, guys. Russell Martin's a big no-no in my eyes.
He's a project manager and like someone you want at the start of a season, not saving you in a relegation fight. No chance.
And then you're looking at everyone else. Lee Cars would be interesting, but he's a bit of an unknown quantity. I don't know if he's going to save you in the, and I don't know if he'd want to come and get into the mess that we're in at the minute. JDT just not going to happen, is it? Just saying we're
getting back just to piss John here.
It'd be so great, wouldn't it? It'd be so funny.
Denver, would you have JDT back?
No, not right
now. If JDT came back to you, would you still go on? I think he would be my tipping point. I think he would actually make me stop going to Blackburn Rovers.
Does his son still play for the academy?
I couldn't tell you. I remember that time when he'd been sacked and he was still coming to watch his son play that time when I was coaching there. It was a weird moment. I was like,
Jacob, would you see JDT back?
Not in the situation we're in now. And okay. I don't even think I would. I don't even think I would at the start of the season if we do somehow stay up.
Dirk?
No.
JDT back? No, cool.
Too late. Well, it's just situation's not in that kind of thing. We are well and truly in the pit right now. We need a fighter. We need a grafter, and his football's just too demanding, and I guess it just won't work out. It would be a non-starter.
I genuinely don't know who I'd want out of those other than Slaven, but like Denver just said, it seems a bit of a stretch when we're in no situation to be trying to bargain with managers, to be honest with you.
We need a current day Warnock.
Is there anyone out there that isn't on this list that you'd take? That's anyone that's available, do you think? Is there anyone out there?
Well, there's one name that's out there that we were linked with in the past. Again, it's not going to get everyone excited. His name's Carlos Carvajal. He did a decent job at Sheffield Wednesday. I think he managed Swansea as well. He's a name that could do a job to the end of the season. Again, he's been linked with us in the past. But again, it's not one that's exciting. There's also, what about Ralph Hassan, who did Southampton? He's out there, out of work. Again, as a foreign coach. Not that I'm against that, but I think ideally I'd like somebody who's well versed in the EFL. Sam Allardyce, it would be good 5 years ago or something like that. But
I'd take it now, but there's just no way it's happening. No way it's happening.
Yeah, we need a current Neil Warnock, which I don't know. Like Nigel Pearson, maybe he's out there. He did okay at Leicester, but he's a coach again. We're he's a coach, and
what's Tony Pulis doing nowadays?
Yeah, I don't know. Again,
Tony Pulis, what's he doing?
Yeah, it's too far gone for me. I think it's too long out of the game.
Still types of managers, though, innit? Your Tony Pulis, your Mick McCarthy, those lot, but they're kind of a bygone era now, aren't
they? Yeah, well, there's and that's the problem. That is the problem. We got all these names here. These are the bookies' favourites. Then when you think about Venky's and whatever, then we start to think about the problems, the concerns. So be careful what you wish for. The Wayne Rooneys are out there. You know what I mean? This is what we could be opening ourselves up for here. A right old, just a nightmare. Steve Bruce. These are the names that are out there that are possibly going to be temptations, the easy, the cheap fix, somebody that can come in and you never know. We might end up in a worse scenario than what we find ourselves in. So
Steve Bruce would be smelly.
Steve Bruce will be what?
Yeah, kind of goes
smelly.
Not fancy
goes.
The Nigel Atkins of the world. He's out there, you know. Alan Pardew. You know.
Steve McLaren. No, he's a Jamaican now, and it doesn't matter.
I don't mind
Pardew. He got fired.
Well, where's Big Mick? Big Mick McCarthy. I want Mick into the rest of the season.
Just for the meme.
Yeah, Chris Coleman. Someone's dropped Chris Coleman in the chat there. A former Rover.
He was linked a long time ago, wasn't
he? Yeah, again, I don't know what he's been doing these days. But it is transfer deadline day. The transfer deadline is over. I think there might be one or two players still to go out, like officially, like your Harry Pickering's potentially, but I don't have anything right now. But let's, of course, quickly run through the deals that were done. And we're going to start with...
Can I just say, before we start this, sorry, how inept this board is, the fact that they've decided to sack a manager on deadline day, give him all these signings, and I understand he's not the manager or whatever, he's the first team coach, but he still has a say, apparently, in who players are going to be. And so we haven't decided to do it at the start of the month and give a manager a month to, make their signings. We've decided to do it on deadline day at the 11th hour, and now we're just giving someone Valérien Ismaël's players. Just how stupid is that?
Yeah, and I think the latest signing that we made, the forward, which we'll talk about him in a minute, it was brought, it was made aware that he never mentions the manager's name in the video, so he probably already knew that he was walking into a situation where there would be a new name at the helm. But let's start with the players that have left. I'm going to start with, it's a surprise one. Again, it's kind of, probably not going to float your boat, but Brandon Powell is gone. He's gone off to Barrow on loan. Youngster, he's been, got a couple of substitutes appearances. Thought he looked quite lively in his couple of games.
On assist, didn't
he? Yeah. What do we think about his move? Happy for him. Danbo, you're a coach. Happy for the guy.
Yeah,
looks like you, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks like your little brother.
If I grew the hair out a little bit, I might do, But no, he definitely looks like me because I'm a lot older than he is. But I think it's the right time. Look, I think he's got in the squad on merit and on the sense of, we had a lot of injuries, so he was the best of our academy prospects. Not necessarily, he's going to get in straight away now, but everyone's fit and firing. So I think it was the right decision to move him on, get some game time, get some, first team men's game time instead of playing for the under 21s. I think under 21s and the under 21s or under 23s. Not too sure which age bracket he falls into, but no, he did reasonably well without setting the world on fire. I think that was that's the issue through this period, that we had no one that stood out. Otherwise, we'd keep him in the rest of the season. But I think this will definitely mature him, and we've got a player there potentially in a year or two's time when they come back off these loans, and we'll see. But look, he got an assist. That's something, and he always came on and give 100%. But yeah, I definitely think it's the right thing to do now that we've got players coming back in. He would just be sat on the bench or just playing under 23s football. So get first team men's football in, and we'll see what happens.
I don't agree. I'll be honest. I don't agree. I think he could have been a kind of Conor Mahoney type. With obviously that season we went down, but we brought Conor Mahoney in and he made a real impact. And I don't know. He gives me a bit of a Tyrese Dolan vibe. And obviously, I saw the assist, and everyone was raving about him, and everyone's been saying he's the dog's bollock at under 23s level. I know it's completely different, but sometimes you just need someone from the academy just to step up and clearly bleed blue and white and whatever. So I'd have probably kept him, and just he's that wild card you've got off the bench.
Yeah.
But my question is, when the likes of Cogbo and all these players that we've just signed, of course, the new guy today was yesterday. Today, no, it was today, wasn't it? We signed him, or yesterday, I can't remember now. And you've got all these players, all these wingers and everything. They're going to play. They're here to start. You got your Dinesh.
I'd rather start Powell over fucking Cogbo, I'll be honest with you. Cogbo's done in my eyes.
Really? Oof.
Well,
yeah.
Everyone's got a new chance now with a new coach. Everyone will be like, even Denev, Tavraz will be given a new crack of the whip, I reckon. We'll see. But I've saved the next one. This is for John T. Get your tissues out, sunshine. Oh, he's gone. He's gone to Shanghai in China. Yeah, of course. I'm sure you had some sleepless nights, John T, about this guy leaving. So good business from Rovers.
Yeah, I guess so. I know I sliced him. I know I wasn't his biggest fan. We saw a couple of glimmers. He was just a lost person, wasn't he? He looks completely out of place. But do you put that down to the manager, the way he was playing him, rusty? I'll always cut players a little bit of slack. But I mean, yeah, he was really, really poor for us. I don't believe he's going to be that poor going forward. Because there was little bits of glimmers of hope and that he is a player and, but, I mean, me and Denver were there at Stoke about just under a year ago. And I mean, the guy was absolutely chastising all the players around him because he wasn't giving him the ball. They give him the ball, he went and stood on it and he slipped on it. he tripped over the ball. But no, listen, I don't want any. I don't wish any harm on any player or anything like that, or to see them, nosedive, the career nosedive. But yeah, it just wasn't a good fit for Blackburn Rovers, and it was the right thing to move him on. So was it a good piece of business? Yes. Even if we could have got 10 quid for him, we didn't. Was it 1.8 being banded around that we got for him? So yeah, absolutely. Undisclosed at 1.8 million, was it? Yeah. So the guy had to go, but my biggest frustration with him. How can you be that tall and not win so many headers? Is just completely beyond me.
That's Sam Gallagher.
Yeah, but then you look at the work rate, Jacob. I think if the guy's work rate was up there, again, you would, I'd probably warm to him like every other Rovers fan would do. People only warm to him because, he was a great cheerleader. He used to sort of, rile the crowd up a little bit. But no, it's sad. It's disappointing. I think there's a player there. Maybe he would smash it in League One. He's just not anything above League One. End of.
Big shout out quickly to Katie. Katie Talks Rovers. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'll get these guys a beer sometime. So I promise you, Denver, I owe you a couple of beers, big time.
I know how she feels, though. I'm starting to hate this club. Honestly, Katie, all I'd say is it's tested me. I mean, let's be honest. We've had it shit now for quite a long time because even when Eustace was in charge, we didn't win like November 2024 at Millwall away. That was our last sort of good feeling that Rovers winning 6 in a row and all of that good stuff. Since then, it's just been just continually down and then all the other stuff that sits around the club, falling out with Lancashire Telegraph and just everything else that goes with it is just it's a tough time to be a Blackburn Rovers supporter. In fact, if anybody asks me who I support now, I don't actually just say Blackburn Rovers. There's 2 words in front of Blackburn Rovers. I'm a long-suffering Blackburn Rovers supporter, and that's how we feel. That's where we are. But you know what, guys, we've got to stick with it. What's he saying?
I thought he was going to say Burnley for a second, and I thought he was going to
long-standing Blackburn Rovers. So Blackburn Rovers, if we accept that's a given, who do you support? Blackburn Rovers. Long standing is 2 words. 2 words.
Well,
Jacob.
you said I'm before it.
Oh my God! How pedantic can you get? Who do you support? Long standing. Non-suffering Blackburn Rovers supporter. Oh, 5 words. There you go. Who gives a shit?
Meanwhile, on the incoming front, we did sign some other players, some names. We'll start with Jacob. You got this guy, Erin Cashin, coming in on loan, centre back. I think, from my memory, back-to-back man of the matches. I think.
I believe so.
You like him?
I mean, I'll be honest. I've barely watched anything because obviously my own health issues and stuff. But I did watch most of his debut and obviously own goal. And from what I saw that game, his defending was pretty dire. The final goal to make it 3-1, completely out of position and whatnot, really poor. But I'll leave it to John T in Denver to maybe talk about his past 2 man of the match performances, I guess.
No, I'm going to pull you up on the Ipswich game. Yes, he scored the own goal. I personally believe Toth could have demanded the area a lot better. He could have communicated, shouted, leave it. There was no threat, no pressure. I watched it. I was staring right down the barrel of the 6-yard box, and Rovers were just, I don't know what Big Val had said to them in the build-up, but obviously there was a lot of nerves going on at Ipswich. And we just panicked. That ball, hard and low, came in, no threat, and he just swiped a foot at it and it went in the back of the net. That said, he then had an absolutely fantastic game. To say that kind of shit can get in your head as a footballer, he was absolutely solid. He was probably the Rovers player of the match. Yes, we went 2-0 down.
I think he was at fault for the 3rd goal personally, along with whoever was at the back with him when Smodic scored.
Yeah, listen, I mean, to be fair, that was the 92nd minute and that guy ran his arse off. I have no qualms with this guy. I think he's a brilliant signing. I think he's a solid defender. I think he'll do. Have we signed him or is he on loan? He's on loan, isn't he?
He's on loan. He's worth 7 or 8 million.
He's a class above. This guy is solid. Even at Ipswich, scored an own goal. Might have been at fault for the 3rd goal in the 92nd minute, but he did a lot of things right that game. I think it could have potentially been a lot worse if it wasn't for Cashin. He was a warrior.
I don't know about class above, but I definitely think he's someone that he's the starter now. He comes in and he's definitely a starter. And I think he played very well on Saturday, especially out of position, playing at left back. It's not his natural position. But I do have, of course, I don't think he's the next best. I'd happily sign him full time, but I don't know if he's the next.
Is he a Van Heck?
He's not, but then Van Heck will go on. He's gone to do. We knew he was going to go on to do what he's done, right? So he's definitely a player where we're at now. We definitely needed, especially with all the injuries that we had. We were playing all our kids at the back, So he's definitely.
Well, I thought George Pratt were doing well, and that's
sure he was. But now look at him. He's out injured, and then we had Pritchard, and he's out injured. And they're still young, They need time to develop. Where he's come in, hit the ground running, done really well. I have no qualms whatsoever. But just on, is it 2 man of the matches? Where it was Conor O'Reilly got the man of the match the game before.
Well, I'm not sure. I thought I read the last one was Hull, and then
in the past 2 I've been in
Watford, I think.
In Watford. No, I swear. I don't know.
Hey, I might have missed. I've been a bit distant as late, so maybe I misread that one. But John T, let's just put it this way: if everybody is fit, does he start Cashin?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I think him and Brager. I think you can tell that they can go on to the next level, if not the next level. I think the difficulty that you've got in seeing the absolute quality of Cashin and Brager is the players around them, unfortunately, sort of thing. So I don't think you're ever going to see the best out of him. But yeah, I've watched football long enough. This guy, you mentioned Van Heck. I think in 2 or 3 games' time, he could be up there with the cool-headedness that he is. He's just in my opinion, he's a very, very good player.
I think to that point, it's worth remembering that Van Hecker was pretty crap at the start of that season. Obviously, he had the karate kick and got sent off, and we're thinking, bloody hell, what the hell do we have here? And, and obviously the own goal. Maybe, obviously I've been a bit harsh, and like I said, I've barely seen him, but time will tell, I guess. Hopefully, I mean, we've had some pretty good loan signings off Brighton bar, one or two, and we've had quite a few now. So
was Moran right?
Yeah, he was awful.
Yeah. So Van Eyck and this guy. Yeah, I'd love it
from Brighton.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next guy, and I can't remember his first name, so I'm going to need to hop back over here quick. There we go. Okay, and it is, this is Brighton, blah, blah, blah. Centre back, left back, so that's where he can play. Just throwing that
apparently Phil Jones is 14-1, by the way.
I just saw that. Again, I think if we hop back to that, to Sam Allardyce, maybe we can fire that duo up, Sam and Phil, to the end of the season.
They had a podcast together, yeah.
That would be good. Sam at the helm, Phil Jones understudy, learning his trade, cut his teeth, and then maybe if we get relegated, Phil Jones takes over. Whatever. Well, anyway, Matthias Jorgensen was signed from Buda Glimmet. Looks like, I don't know how much money we spent on this guy. Let me see. It's 3.5 million. A big chunk of change. Can play anywhere in the 3 up there. We've got a goal already out of him. Can play midfield. Looks like, according to the transfer market, he prefers to play down the middle. Who wants to charm in on this guy? What have we liked him so far? Again, I've been a little bit distant myself over the past week or so, but I did see the goal. Who wants to chime in on this fella?
I will say, from what I've seen, I didn't watch the game at Swansea. I think I was in work, but then what I've seen since hasn't set the world alight. But then at the same time, none of our forwards have set the world alight with the shape and whatever our decision making is in the final third is just horrendous in general. So we'll cross it in the worst places. Keepers just collect. We're not playing ball to the edge of the box, in front of the box. No one's making those runs. I don't know what coaching's going on in the final third. Everything else seems to be really good, but that last bit. So has he had the service? No. Has he been able to create anything? No. So it's hard to say, but what I've seen, it's like he's not really there. He's not really impressed me. Again, other than the goal, which you want to see. So maybe if we have a little bit of better structure in that final third, when we're on the offensive side of things, we might see more goals from him and Andre and Hohashi. But as of right now, no. I by the half time and nothing had happened, I was screaming for a Good Johnson to come on, and when Good Johnson come on, he did nothing either. So it just shows it's a collective issue, not necessarily his fault. But I've not seen much of him. So
I mean, I saw glimpses of him when he came on against Ipswich, and that's the only game I've really watched the past 5 or 6 or whatever. And I thought he looks a lot better. I mean, anything's better than Axel Henriksen up front, that's for sure. And he was a bit more dynamic and dangerous. He nearly scored in that game. Was through on goal, and then I think he passed it to Ohashi or something, and then he got took down. I can't remember now, but he looked good. But I can't comment on the past couple of games where he's obviously been starting and whatnot. My friend said has he been playing on the wing in the past couple of games?
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to keep quiet about the guy, because I think Dirk said right at the beginning his preferred position is up front, and we've been playing him on either side. We've been playing him as a wide man, and one of my biggest criticisms of Ismaël is playing players out of position, or whether they just don't shine. This particular guy, he's not done nothing to excite me whatsoever. And I, if it is 3.5 million, then I think we've got a little bit of a concern on our hands. But on the flip side of that, hopefully under a new manager playing him in a proper position, then we might see the better of him. But no, I've not seen anything that would excite me about this guy, unfortunately, and it pains me to say that. But hopefully, under the change of a guard, we'll see something a little bit different from him.
You know what? Just quickly, you know what really annoys me? We've splashed the cash with Val. We really have. I mean, 3.5 million here, whatever there. Under Eustace, he didn't get a penny. He lost Smodix, 32 goals in that season or whatever, and he couldn't get a penny that transfer window. And in the January, he didn't get a penny again. It's just so frustrating that we didn't back him, but we've backed someone who, has clearly been an absolute dud. And like I said, frustrations as well. The fact that we've backed him so much and now sacked him on deadline day. But yeah, mind-boggling.
Equally to Ismail, we lost a couple of, a handful of really good players, didn't we? Which was probably out of Ismail's control. You've already mentioned them, Britain. Who else did we lose?
Travis, which is true, but all those transfer fees, I don't even think total up to what Smodix went for. So I mean, 32 goal a season man, you're just ripping out of that squad, and he didn't get anything. So it's so frustrating. Really is.
Yeah, you just think of some of the players, though, and this is Blackburn Rovers as a whole. Just some of the players, the quality players that have gone through, slipped through our fingers. If you could have had, 7 or 8, if we could have retained some of those, then who knows where we'd be now? Because we were knocking on the door of the playoffs. Some would argue, well, we never actually got to the playoffs, so do you blame us for getting rid of your Hyams, your Travises, your Dolans, and people like that? Because we never actually got into the playoffs. So that would suggest that team weren't good enough. So, out with the old, in with the new. And yeah, there was a bit of a gamble, players coming from different leagues. And, again, and that's a difficulty for your man on the screen, because he's coming from a completely different league into the Championship, which is it's you would have to be shit hot in your Norwegian, your Swedish leagues to hit the ground running in the Championship. It will take a bit of time to get bedded in and things like that. And this is why sometimes you've got to cut him a bit of slack. I cut Mac Targay, believe it or not. I did cut him a bit of slack just to get him used to it. But then, you just see enough. This is what I love about watching live football, is because you can watch them off the field, off the ball. And what they're doing off the ball, and this is why I like Cashin. This is why I like wax lyrical about Cashin and Baraja, and just the way that they're looking and organising and thinking about the game, the one step ahead of it, and that for me is what makes a good player even better.
Yeah, I agree.
That's alongside Dirk.
I know.
Unless you're asleep, we just
no. I was just dreading pronouncing this guy's second name here. So the next guy we picked up, undisclosed fee from St. Pauli, former of Bolton, Englishman, Dapo Apolian. Apolian is this guy. Apparently, he ran rings around us at a friendly when Bolton played Rovers a couple seasons ago.
Was that during COVID? I think that was the first game back I went to after COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's back in the English game. He is 28 years of age, I think. He's signed on a 18-month sort of deal, which gives him some wiggle room to escape the madhouse if shit goes downhill.
Doesn't fill you with confidence, that does it? It's I'm here for 6 months, and if you go down, I'm out.
Yeah. So again, Englishman returning back to the EFL. Anyone want to chime in on this fella? Again, it is better quality than what we have had. More options up top. It's still not that recognised striker. Did we lose somebody who fell off the face?
Jacob,
there?
I think.
Jacob jumped off. I think he's just sick of the back teeth of them. But it's not the out and out number 9, but it's another guy who can play up top. In fact, I'll bring up his gear and all that kind of stuff. He prefers to play on the left-hand side, but can play centre forward. Got 12 goals in a number of games here. He's back. But yeah, anyway, and before we jump in there, again, big shout out to Katie supporting the stream right here, right now. Do you think your day can get any worse? I just saw that, yes. Derby about to announce Smodic on a loan, I believe. Appreciate your support on the channel and appreciate your love right here, right now. But thoughts on Dapo coming in? Anybody?
I'll keep it brief. I don't know anything about him. Wasn't aware of him whilst he was at Bolton. I've messaged a couple of Bolton fans, and both of them are singing his praises. Said we've got a really good signing. If he can sort of regurgitate what he did at Bolton, then we've got one hell of a player there. So I'm happy with that. I think what pleases me more is that he's a left winger, so that would probably suggest that Deneve doesn't get a look in at this moment in time, because that guy and Henriksen have been really bloody awful, really, really poor. I thought Deneve had turned a little bit of a corner actually when I saw them Bradford in the cup game. Deneve and then Henriksen looks absolutely woeful, but at least Deneve shone a little bit later, but unfortunately he's like a headless chicken at the minute. So no, I'm happy. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Whether he'll start tomorrow against Sheffield Wednesday remains to be seen. But no, I and these Bolton fans, fair play to them. They're the season ticket holders, a lot about football. So yeah, if they say he's good, I'll go with that.
I'm just gonna. It was the. I can't remember what I was going to say now. I was about to say.
You were just going to go to the toilet, then.
Yeah,
you were going to go all in. You were going to go all in.
No. Denev. I was going to go with Denev. I think when we played with the five at the back and he played at the left wing back, that's when we saw the best of him. But now that we've gone into back like a 4-2-3-1 almost now, or a 4-2, almost 4-2-2. Now that he's playing higher up, it seems to be just struggling a little bit. I don't know, so just having that freedom to go up and down just seemed to work better for him. I don't know, but yeah, that, especially on Saturday, he was really, really poor. But I don't know, maybe just a thought of him being out of position. Maybe it's what we're seeing of an issue with Denev. But where Henriksen, I swear, anyway he plays, just seems to not work at all. So
how good's Alibu Solo? Come on, guys, seriously. When he came back, honestly, that guy is just next level, isn't he?
He's the player of the season, and he will be. And he's the one foreign signing, under this regime that worked. And I suppose broken clocks work. Broken clocks right twice a day. So we've clearly struck lucky with Alabiosu, and there's no way he stays after summer, unfortunately. This guy, I think, I don't know anything about him. And I've seen things on Twitter. I don't think his goal record's the best. But I guess we'll wait and see, won't we?
3-0 Sunderland. Whoop, whoop.
Nice. But that
be safe, please.
That is, I think, the business done for Blackburn Rovers. Quick go around the room. Is it enough to keep us in the division, Denver?
I think the squad that we when fully fit, I think our squad's good enough to stay in the division on the whole. Is this all these signings setting the world on fire? No. Are they exciting? No. In all honesty, you look at these. They're just unproven, aren't they? If they come and smash it, then yeah, you know what, we're laughing. It's been really great signings, but as of right now, it reminds me of when we hired Tony Mowbray originally all those years ago. I think as a collective now, we can probably think what kind of managerial signing was this, and then he went on to be phenomenal. So we can only hope and pray. Like Sammy Smolik, when we signed Sammy Smolik, I didn't think much of the signing at the time. They got relegated with Peterborough, so I wasn't expecting loads from him. And then he goes and does what he does. So let's hope. But I generally do think, I see Jacob shaking his head when I said I don't think this I think this squad's good enough. I think it's a good mid-table squad. We can compete against anyone in the league. We just can't put the ball in the back of the net. Let's see what a new manager can do with the same squad of players, and let's see where we end up in the table. Let's just hope that some of these players that we brought in are going to. But yeah, not at all excited. The last major exciting signing I think we made was Todd Cantwell last year, and yeah, waiting for another player like that maybe, but we'll got to wait and see. Some of these players might shock us. So,
Jonty, are we going to stay in this division?
I'd like to think so, of course I would, but the longer this goes on, tomorrow is a huge game. We're now in February. We're at the business end of this table now, aren't we? So we can't continue the run. We need to stop that rot. We're in a transitional period now with the manager. Like I say, I think there's almost a part of me that wishes that, if Val had lost the dressing room, then, you see this new manager bounce and the players suddenly wake up. But we didn't see that. There was a couple of times this season where I thought, what's going on here? Charlton away when we lost 3-0, and it looked like the players didn't want to play for Big Val. And then more recently at Charlton, where even Big Val looked rejected, he just sat. I changed stands for that game. I was in the Jack Walker with my mate Pete, and literally Big Val was down to my right as opposed to being directly opposite me. And I watched his body language, and he looked a defeated man. And when we got 2 goals back, he became alive again. But up until that point, it was he looked like a beaten man, and I felt a little bit sorry for him then. But it's results like that. Ironically, both Charlton away and Charlton at home. No offense, Charlton fans, if anybody watches, but where I just thought, what's going on here? I believe the squad we've got, we've had a lot of bad luck with injuries. We've had a lot of congestion in the league as well. The players look fatigued and tired and sometimes bored of football as well. But equally, we've been playing the same tactics, and it's a definition of madness, isn't it? Just doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So something had to change. Long answer to your short question: are we going to stay in this league? I think we've got enough about us. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll go close. I think we might need at least 52, 53 points, similar to the kind of point tally that we had when we went down. I think we went down with 54, 55 points. It's a tight league. All depends what happens with Leicester. But we need some wins bloody quick. That's what I'd say. We need to just take a tiny bit of pressure off ourselves, because the longer it goes on, the longer that, or the bigger that gap's going to start forming.
Go on.
My question then to that is, if it isn't us, then who is it? Because West Brom do look down and out, but so do we. And I do think it's between us and West Brom.
Look at that. I'm just on cue. Yeah, there you go. But hey, before your input on it, Oxford, they've changed their manager. West Brom have changed their manager. Norwich have changed their manager. Charlton haven't. Sheffield United did. Leicester did. Swansea did. And they've all had, I wouldn't say West Brom. West Brom have had a negative bounce with the change of manager. They've got worse. Oxford they've had a bit of a resurgence. Pompey have stuck the guns with their guy. Norwich are starting to climb the table. I've always liked Nathan Jones, but he ain't coming. But here is a quick updated look at the odds I just brought up here. This is reverse. It's a long list, so don't get excited because some of these ones. Robbie Keane would be fantastic, but ain't going to happen. Steve Bruce is down there, 33-1. Dean Smith, he's at Charlotte FC in the MLS. He would be good, but he ain't coming. He's enjoying some barbecue. Carlos Cobham would be amazing, but he's a Valencia.
That'll be funny. Imagine come back.
Phil Jones, 33-1. I know somebody said something else. I like this guy here. This guy would be fantastic. But I think he's doing well at Lincoln, but he ain't gonna come. That's Coleman, Chris Coleman, Rude ain't gonna happen. Barry Ferguson, ex-Rover, 33-1. Bess Pearson, Ollie, maybe. You never know.
What about Alan Sheenan? I mean, that'd be great.
No way. That would be a nightmare.
No, just to hear from the Blackburn and Sheenan.
Gary Neal, he's now Strasbourg, so he ain't coming. Stephen Gerrard is in there. Michael Beale, that would be a nightmare. You remember him with his fake Twitter account trying to. Marty Cofientes is out of work, just got fired on Leicester. I don't know if that's what you want. Ryan Mason, another one you don't really want. Then we get to the more realistic ones or the top end. David Shannon at Stockport ain't happening. He's doing well. Will Still, he won't touch us. Neither will JDT or Russell Martin. There he is, Gary Rowett. Karanka. Ooh, we don't want that. Wayne Rooney, we definitely don't want that. Hilton Hurtle, there he is. Damien Duff, I don't know, it might be too much. But right now, it is David Wagner is the favourite with the bookies. But Jacob, say what you've got to say on our survival hopes.
I think it all comes down to who we get as manager. It has to be the right choice. As I've said before, I don't think this squad is as good as the one when we last went down. I don't think there's characters in there, and I don't think the quality's there either. Too many players who've just been chucked in at the deep end from foreign leagues, and it shows. And fortunately, as Denver says, we've been competitive in games or whatever. The most important thing in football is putting the ball in the back of the bloody net, and we've just not done that this season at all. Yuki Ohashi, I thought he was going to get 15, 20 this season, and he's been so disappointing. He's been absolutely woeful this season. I think, unfortunately, at the minute, with everything that's going on off the pitch as well, I would say we go down at this moment in time, unless we really get a manager in who just gets a feel-good factor around Blackburn Rovers, which I'm not even sure will happen, because just the current state of the board and the ownership, there's so many other things that are going wrong at Blackburn Rovers other than on the pitch. It's just hard to even get a feel-good factor around the club right now. I mean, two game abandonments. This game we're playing, tomorrow is because we had a second game rained off after the head of operations told me and told the room at the last fans forum that she'd sorted it. Absolutely embarrassing for a championship club. And can you blame players not wanting to come to what is a circus with stuff that's going on off the pitch? You don't know whether your game's going to be completed. And I do feel bad for Val in a way, having to put up with that. Having to put up with his squad being decimated. Like I said, who's going to want to come here and take this job on when everything's going on as it is in the background? It's a poison chalice, really. So if you ask me right now, like I said, it'd be a no. I think we're going down. Well, and I don't think we'd come back up straight away.
Yeah, once again, appreciate Katie's support today with the super chats, but she's also just posted this, which of course kind of blows out what I just showed you. Nixon says 2 candidates already unwilling to commit. David Wagner, who was top of the bill, their favourite. The other name that she failed to add to it was Bo Svensson, who is a former a coach out of Mainz, out of the Bundesliga, which of course I don't think that would have been a good fit anyway. But Wagner, who is currently the bookie's favourite, according to Alan Nixon, who seems to have fingers in pies at Blackburn Rovers, and knows that it seems to be ahead of the pulse, ruling him out, ruling Slaven. Slaven's been ruled out. Mowbray's been ruled out. So who's next in line? So it's going to be a crazy...
This is the thing, in it, he's just been sacked at Norwich. They left Norwich in the worst position they've been in a very long time, and he won't even take this job. Yeah. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, but he might know he doesn't want the Blackburn Rovers job. He might just not want a job. He might want a bit of breathing space. You don't know what happens at the families. Yeah, so, you mentioned everything about Blackburn Rovers. The fans at some stage, have to take a little bit of a look in the mirror, in my opinion. All of this Venky's out. Well, I'm not being funny, but where was all the Venky's out sort of, when we're doing well, when we're pushing for promotion and stuff like that? And for me, it's a consistency. People will call me a happy clapper because I go to the games, I support the team, I support the lads sort of thing. But equally, a year and a half ago, there was no mention, and for a long time, there was no mention of Venky's out and things like that. And it only seems that this comes in, it's almost like, to deviate away from the club not performing on the pitch sort of thing. All of these issues for the past 14, 15 years have been there, haven't they? The club has slowly been in decline, but, all of these protests, it didn't change anything when we were getting 20, 22,000 on. So what's going to be the difference now? Don't get me wrong. I'm not wanting Venky's there anymore. It's time for them to go. They don't love the club. They don't care about the club. Just please do the right thing. Do the honourable thing. Move on. Piss off. Cut your ties. Completely get that. I'm with you on that one, right? But all of this other stuff is just, for me, it's just if you're that much against Venky's, just do it outside the ground or whatever. But all this passion out with signs and stuff like that, all the negativity and dross that you can drag up about something that you're supposed to love. I just don't get it, me. I couldn't put all. You talk about hanging your dirty washing out in public, sort of thing. I think that some of the fans aren't helping the situation of any prospective buyer that wants to buy a club, and we've got this horrible feel around the club. Horrible feel. I would love to see. I'm more sat on the side of the fence of, let's put 23,000 people inside Ewood and show, actually, you know what, if somebody bought us, look what you could have. We might not get up to the dizzy heights. I'm not pissed when I say this, but it's like, you might not get up to the 23,000 dizzy heights of what we had in the Premier League, but we have a decent fan base. We have a loyal fan base as well. And we could actually do ourselves a bit of a favour here. All of this, the Blackburn end for the last few games have been absolutely horrendous. Not just Watford, but on Saturday as well. And that doesn't do anything for anybody, does it?
I think the problem is, though, even when we've had the good spells and the attendances haven't been bad, and we've had the feel good factor, the owners have made it pretty clear that they're just not willing to sell. And apparently, the price they've set the club at is just ridiculous and bonkers. But I do think for a lot of fans, this is just the final straw, and it really has been a death by 1,000 cuts the past 15, 16 years or whatever. We've never got to the extent of a Sheffield Wednesday, but like you said, we're slowly dying. We're just constantly being asset stripped year after year after year, and I just think people are just well and truly fed up now. And the board really doesn't help with how inept it is.
Yeah, and exactly, and we haven't got a CEO, and there's so much wrong with the club at the minute. But equally, if the difference between ourselves and Sheffield Wednesday, and this is what people need to understand, is if we don't turn up, if we don't spend money at Blackburn Rovers, the owners don't care because they're billionaires. They do not care. So it doesn't hurt them one, but it's like me taking a penny off Dirk. He ain't going to notice it. Right? But, so you do that when your owners are skint, when they're absolutely living, on the breadline, and they need every single penny. But all this boycotting and not going in on this it means nothing. What we need to do is a polar opposite, and lift our attendances, and just show somebody actually what we're all about as a club. That's my opinion anyway. It's not working the other way around, so let's try something different.
But what is the truth is it's going to be a hectic next 48 hours, 72 hours. Of course, Wednesday tomorrow, free hit. Damien Johnson at the helm. 100% record, I think, is his managerial thing, right? With Rovers last time out. And who knows? I probably think we won't have a new coach by Saturday, considering what we're seeing on Twitter right now with early names already being ruled out. So
I hope we don't have one by the 9th, Dirk. I'd love for them to still not have one by the time the fans forum comes around.
I was going to say, have a good luck with that, but I'm sure we'll talk before then, and hopefully we'll have a more in-depth chat, more about the managerial situation, and of course a full review of the squad, because it is what it is. It looks like this is it. This is what we've got. Is it good enough to stay up? We'll have to find out. Of course. Closing comments. Let's go around the room. Denver, wrap us up. It's late for you guys. I'm going to get dinner on.
I think it's it's a weird time. It's going to be an interesting few weeks to see what goes on with the new signings, new manager, new philosophy, and in retrospect of the formations and the style of play, and see what happens. Hopefully it'll be good news, and this will be just a bad memory of a long line of bad memories at this point. But let's wait and see what happens. I think, in my opinion, if you're going to do this now with Ismaël, it is a weird time to do. You potentially have a few people lined up, so that maybe they already have a few ideas. I know you've got the bookies' favourites and stuff like that, but that's retrospect of what Blackburn Rovers are doing as a club and who they're targeting. So either yes, they're completely committed and they know what they're doing, or this is out of the blue and that they're starting the search from scratch. But you'd have thought there's some background information and they've got maybe 4 or 5 candidates ready lined up. And you'd think, how long was it until Ismaël was appointed after Eustace? But the difference with Eustace is it was unexpected. That was very much he ended up going to talk, and then they had to do the whole process. Where this, if it's on mutual agreement, you'd have thought there were steps behind closed doors to get a manager in. But I think it was 2 weeks after he got Ismaël. It's
longer than we wanted, I thought.
Yeah. So maybe, but knowing Blackburn Rovers, it could be a month before we see someone actually walk through the door, or Damien Johnson takes caretaker to the rest of the season. So
another name before we're going to go Jacob next, and then John T, because I want to end on a positive. Just saying. But another name that has been linked that's not on there is a guy called Niels Fredriksson. He's actually managing in Poland with Legia. Well, I don't know which one it is. Hang on. He's from Denmark. He's from Denmark, but hear me out. If
Denmark,
he is from Denmark. I know. Right, yeah. And the reason he's being linked is because of the ties with Adam Owen. Is that right? His name, Adam Owen, the old recruiter.
He's the guy. He's the guy who's head of development at the minute, and apparently he's the guy who has the final say on whether Ismaël was sacked or not.
Yeah. So he links with him. I think also links with Morishita, maybe. I don't know, but anyway, Jacob. Closing comment.
I mean. Yeah, it's just deja vu, Groundhog Day, innit? We've been here. This is the 3rd February in a row now. We've found ourselves in this position without a manager. So that just kind of says everything you need to know, I suppose, of where we are as a club right now. We're just so unstable. And yeah, we're a hell of a long way away from where we were when Tony Mowbray left this club. That's for sure. So I think, like I said, I think it just needs to be the right man if we have any hope of staying up this season. Like I said initially at the start of this, I think it is to paper over, the cracks and whatnot, sack Ismaël, appease the fans. Maybe that'll get some fans back in the door, because apparently it was still quiet on the weekend again since the Watford boycott. So, thinking that'll appease fans to come back. But yeah, I mean, like I said, and like I've said, here we are. Bloody hell. That's sad to see. I would have given my left bollock to have him back on loan.
Isn't it so frustrating? It's so fucking miserable.
But I mean, that's how highly the players rated John Eustace. The fact that all these players followed into Derby, including, obviously our captain Lewis Travis, Beck, Byman, Barth, the rest of them. He was clearly loved at this club, and we wouldn't back him, and he thought, "Fuck yeah, I'm going to go somewhere with a bit of ambition then." And look how he's doing now. So yeah, I mean, it's sad, Dirk. It's really sad, and I think we're only heading one way anyway. So if it doesn't happen this season, it'll be next.
Well, yeah. John T, though, is going to turn it all around. Come on, John T, give us something to fight for here.
First question.
Closing comments, say something cheerful.
Closing comments. I guess what I would want as a manager is somebody that's experienced in English football, that knows what it's about, knows the challenge, knows how tough, how competitive it is. So I pulled a face and I squirmed a little bit when you said he's currently managing in Poland, and I didn't recognise his name. So, I don't care about a foreign manager as long as they've had experience in the Championship and they know what they're letting themselves in for. We can't take any gambles. We haven't got that time. The shit's happening now. We need, like I said before, we're in February. We're at the business end of the season. We need to get this appointment right. And I don't care if we have Damien Johnson in, and I'm trying to think who we've got, but we've got Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow night. We've got Norwich City away. We've then got QPR away. We've then got Preston at home. So, if you could get, 9 points out of those 4 games, or even 7 points, I think, and Damien Johnson gets that, I would to just keep the ball rolling and keep sticking with Damon Johnson until something comes up. We don't need to, in my opinion, unless something goes catastrophically wrong tomorrow and we lose, then I don't think we need to make a panic decision. It's such a shame, isn't it? Because managers should be knocking the door down to manage Blackburn Rovers, you know what I mean? And because of the board or the lack of the board and the owners, they're not. And that's a crying shame for this very proud club in its 150th year. You just knew something like shit like this would happen. But I'd still be a Blackburn fan over than somebody boring like Everton. No offence, Everton fans that have never won anything, never got relegated or won the FA Cup. You what?
Dangerous talk. Oh, Everton, not. Oh, I don't know.
Not won anything. We won the Prem.
But no, I like Everton, but what I'm saying is I'm just using them. As an Everton fan, they've never really won anything. They haven't been relegated. I'm talking since I've been watching football sort of thing. I like Everton as a club. I think they're a brilliant set of supporters, superbly loyal. I respect Everton and Tranmere fans because, down the road there's Liverpool as well, isn't there? But no, I'm using Everton as an example that there's a handful of clubs in the Premier League. As long as I've been watching football, they've never been out of the Premier League. You could almost argue Aston Villa in that, but they did get relegated recently and then obviously bounced straight back up. But there's some clubs that have just not won anything, never been relegated or relegated maybe once, and that's it. So I guess we've seen it all. But for people like yourself and Jacob, you've never seen the good times. So, I do take that into consideration and I feel for you. But the good days will come back. And you know what? We've only had 7 wins this season. So I've only had 7 good feelings on a Saturday or a Tuesday or something like that. And hopefully we'll get another one tomorrow.
Apparently you're wired to a Mars bar in the comments.
Well, what's he saying? What's he saying?
I don't know if this is your best mate, but he says John T is definitely wired to a Mars bar if he thinks we get 9 points from the next 3 games. I do think that sometimes.
I said 4 games. 9 points from 4 games.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich, QPR and Preston. I said 4 games. So if we could get 7 or 9 points out of Johnson. So rewind. So wired to a Mars bar.
Let's start with 3.
That's a weird saying. That's a weird wired to a Mars bar.
I know. That's
an interesting one.
There was one guy.
Let's start with the win tomorrow.
There was one guy.
Damien Johnson, get the 3 points. You, Denver, Jacob, John T, you guys are fabulous. Appreciate you coming in on a Monday. But we're going to get out of here. You guys get some rest. I'm going to get the stove on and we might chat Sunday, eh? Put that in your diary.
Okay.
All right. Ciao for now, everybody. You guys all been fantastic. The window is over. New manager search starts now.
Joys.